Yo, what is going on, guys? We're having a fantastic day today. So we're going to go over the top 10 best salary cap bargains for the Philadelphia Eagles. Since we are waiting until the 25th until Eagles training camp, I think it's really cool just to go over the numbers real quick and kind of go over some of the bargaining contracts that we do have right now that could be big steals in production this year. And, you know, kind of go over the total amount of cap that we have at the end of this video and some things from this cap list that is really intriguing, especially going into next year, the year after, the future of the Philadelphia Eagles. How much does Howie Roseman have this cap situation stable, you know, going into these years, building these rosters the way that he does, and obviously getting these trades and how he signs these guys and the cap numbers and all that stuff. So I kind of want to go over all of that with you guys since we are waiting here for Eagles training camp. So, yeah, let's get straight into all the news.
Because I've seen enough horror movies to know any weirdo wearing a mask is never friendly.
Yo, what is going on, guys? What's on a fantastic day? I hope everybody is enjoying their weekend as we're approaching another week gone and hopefully another week closer to Eagles training camp, which we are very excited about. I want to go over the 10 bargaining contracts that we do have right now that are total steals and just in production what these players have been giving us. And, you know, Howie Roseman is a move money around type wizard, is a cap wizard, and we all know that. So number one on the list that I want to go over is the most important one is our quarterback in Jalen Hurts. Okay. Now his cap hit for this year is only $6.1 million. The next two seasons, between this season and next season, his cap number altogether is $19.5 million, which is nothing, which is peanuts, which is just nothing at all. If you really look at over the cap as well with his contract, which I thought it was intriguing as well, this contract means absolutely nothing going down the line, okay? Because you look at 2023, 6.1 for this year, next year, $13.8 million. And then really going, you know, 2025 is a $21 million cap hit. 2026 is a $31.7 million contract, okay? The cap number of what it is. It doesn't matter because if, say, Jalen Hurts plays fantastic the next two seasons, at least by 2025, the Eagles can extend Jalen Hurts yet again on another contract, which could, you know, take those numbers out. We're not going to see a $31 million cap hit. We're not going to see a $21 million cap hit from this quarterback. It's not going to happen because by those times, we're probably going to either restructure him, extend him, whatever the case may be, to create more cap space and lower those cap hits for the next 2 years onto another extension or just a plain restructure. So the cap hits do get bigger, but we're never going to see those cap numbers that are that high with Jalen Hurts being the quarterback that we have right now. And it's just such a bargain, man. We were very nervous of how that contract, it was really going to look like. And it looked really good, you know, so very happy with that. I mean, I think we were all like nervous and is the exchange between Hurts' agent and, the front office of the Eagles and Howie Roseman, is it going well? Is it not going well? We were so nervous about it, but it came out perfectly. So, obviously Hurts is obviously a huge bargain. There's no doubt about it. Number two on the list is Reed Blankenship. Only $870,000 for the year. Obviously undrafted, so guys aren't really making anything. Even though making $870,000 for this year is pretty good for a normal citizen as ourselves. Really good sample size last year. Chauncey ends up getting hurt. Reed goes in and plays really well. Not the best coverage safety, but man, when it comes to being a contact safety, tackler, his tackling's A+. I mean, now with a full off season with the Philadelphia Eagles, this is a huge difference here. This really makes a huge difference. With a little bit more tuning, a little bit more, time with the team, and as a projected starter, because You know, you got Terrell Edmonds. The safety spot is pretty loaded this year. Loaded as in there's a lot of bodies. Loaded in talent, not yet to see it yet. But Terrell Edmonds, a good stopgap player. See what he could do. Sidney Brown coming into the group now is going to be another interesting one. But Reed Blankenship, I mean, I'm really glad this kid had a chance last year. He really proved himself with the sample size he was given. And, you know, hopefully we see better things from him. So I'm really excited. And we have to give guys a chance. And this is the issue, like, especially with this team or with the fan base in general, or me, myself sometimes, because I feel like every time we see a hole or maybe we're not comfortable with a certain position group, we just go to, let's sign a safety. Let's go out and get Budda Baker. Let's go out and get this one. Let's go out and get that one. And sometimes we just have to wait and see what happens here. I don't think Reed Blankenship's a bad player. I think we might have something here. We might have a gem in this group. And if we could pair him up with somebody that's going to really, I mean, look, I'm looking to see Terrell Edmonds, Sidney Brown, competition, Reed Blankenship sitting there and, you know, having a good third safety. You know, if you want to do those three safety sets, however you want to do them, if they want to use all three of these guys, great. And I think if all three of them make it, which I think they will, you know, I think this will be a really good safety group, a young safety group, definitely. And just, ready to go. We're just getting younger. Safety's going to be a nice competition this year. Maybe they'll cross-train Keely Ringo. Maybe they'll do some different things. So we'll see in the coming days. But $870,000, I mean, undrafted, you know it's going to be cheap. And it's a big bargain chip because he produced last year. I mean, he produced. I mean, is it more of a good defense around him, or is he actually talented? I've seen him make some one-on-one tackles. I've seen him cause fumbles. I've seen him do some things. And yeah, I'd say he's done a good amount of stuff on his own on the field. So I really can't complain about it too much. Number 3 on the list is James Bradberry. Well, this was probably the most surprise signing we had this offseason. Now, if we signed Chauncey Gardner-Johnson, this probably wouldn't have happened. But obviously the Eagles were not going to wait. They had to move on. It was after the first day of free agency, and they had to get things going. So pairing up James Bradberry finally getting a home, you know, finally, like in his career, he actually has a home around a group of guys, likes the defensive coordinator really well, was supposed to get paid $15-16 million a year somewhere else, and he only got paid, what, 12, 13 a year? I mean, so Bradberry's cap numbers, Bradberry's cap number just for, when I talked about Reed Blankenship, I didn't mean what he was making. That was the cap hit for obviously for this season. I'm talking about cap hits right now. For James Bradberry going into this year, only $3 million, a little over $3 million. He signed a 3-year extension, so it'll be $4.7 million in 2024. 2025 will be $8.2 million, which is pretty good. Obviously, the last 26 is voided, so we're not going to count that right now. But cap numbers are good. The highest it goes to is $8.2 million in 2025, which isn't bad. So a real big bargain here, a huge bargain to get James Bradberry back. And that was the one I really didn't think it was going to happen at all. Really didn't. I mean, we thought Slay was going to leave. He was going to the Ravens. What was going on? Bradberry came right back, and it's very nice to have two good cornerbacks, number 1 and number 2, and especially, you know, I wasn't a big fan of Bradberry. I wasn't a big fan of Bradberry coming to this team last year because I didn't know what he was going to do. You know, he gave up over 800, receiving yards as a cornerback for the Giants as a number 1 corner. He hasn't been a Pro Bowler since 2020, so I was very nervous about him coming to the team. I felt good about him being as a number 2, not much on his plate, and really just, God, he played so well. he played amazing. So I was really happy about that. Obviously, 4th on the list is A.J. Brown, $8.5 million cap hit for the year. Now, if you guys remember, when we did trade for A.J. Brown, obviously more than a bargaining chip, over 1,600 yards for the Philadelphia Eagles, broke Mike Quick's receiving yard record, which is just amazing in itself. But with A.J. Brown, his cap hits, obviously he was still on his rookie deal when we traded for him, so obviously signed his new deal. So his cap hit for this year is $8.3 million. Then it goes to 12.4 in 24. Then it goes to 26.5, so it goes to $26.5 million in 2025. And then 2026, $41 million. So, those cap numbers are going to go up real quick. I don't know what the future is for A.J. Brown on this team the next few years with those cap numbers going up. Obviously, we're going to be talking about Devonte Smith because he is on this list as well. And I think we're going to have to make a choice in a few years. Enjoy this while it lasts, because as much as I still want to pair these two up, I think it's going to come down to AJ's what he likes more. Is it going to be money when his contract is up or close to being up, or is it going to be his heart when it comes to this team and to his best friend in Jalen Hurts? I think that's where it's going to come down to. Obviously, very good friends with the quarterback, which might help us in our case down the road when AJ Brown maybe re-signs with the Eagles. I don't know. Devonte Smith should be a Philadelphia Eagle for the rest of his career. That's just what it is. If I'm making a choice, it's going to be Devonte Smith over AJ Brown. There's no doubt about it. Devonte Smith, we haven't seen the ceiling yet, but we'll get to that in a second. So down the road, we'll see what happens with these contracts, these cap hits going down, because they get a little bit bigger. We get into the double digits. Come next year in 2024, they could probably restructure. I don't know. It just depends what the Eagles want to do. That's why you have 11 to 12 draft selections next year. So, AJ Brown's has been, fantastic. Just amazing. Just amazing. Hopefully even a bigger year this year. I think he will lead the team in catches, by the way. I think Devonte Smith will lead in yards. I think A.J. Brown will lead in catches. I think we're going to see a different beast this year, though. Very happy about it. Next on the list is Nakobe Dean. Obviously, $1.1 million. We know the story with Nakobe Dean. We've been talking about him. Obviously, the Eagles going into this offseason in 23 already knew that Nakobe Dean was on the roster and now getting his shot. Okay, Nakobe Dean, hopefully to be the field general that we know he is. The linebacker core is probably the weakest position on their defense right now, because I don't know what Nicholas Morrow's going to bring to this team. Is Davion Taylor going to step up and not get injured for another offseason? What else you have? Kyron Johnson, Patrick Johnson. I really don't know what else you have back there. That's why I feel like with the 4 open roster spots we have, they could add another linebacker into this group. So we will see down the road what happens here, but obviously Nakobe Dean, we're having very high praise right now. I'm not trying to go overboard, but I need to see it with my own two eyes of what he could do. He had a nice sample size. He got into some games last year where we were up multiple touchdowns, played special teams the whole year last year, really, was a sponge in that linebacker room with Nick Rallis as the linebacker coach, and learned a lot. And I'm excited to see how Sean Desai uses Dean this year, and should be our best linebacker we have. That's projected, and I hope so. I hope so down the road. So $1.1 million cap hit for Nakobe Dean. Next on the list is Landon Dickerson. Obviously, was a pro, got his first Pro Bowl nod last year. Last year, $2.3 million for the year. Obviously, very cheap. Very cheap cap hits going down the line. And Dickerson obviously was supposed to be our starting center when we thought Kelsey was retiring a couple years ago, but that did not happen. So we put him at right. I think it was the San Francisco 49ers opener in 21. He played right guard, went in for Brandon Brooks when he ended up getting injured, and I think that was the last time we saw Brandon Brooks, to be honest with you. And then I think he came back for a little bit, but I'm not sure. Then moved to left guard, and that was really it. And we kept him there. So Dickerson has been fantastic. Cap numbers very cheap even for the next few years. Nothing really complain about there with Dickerson. Definitely, still on his rookie deal. And still cheap right now and playing at a very high level. So, when it comes to pass protection and the run blocking, I think him and Kelsey have really good chemistry. Him and Milana have fantastic chemistry on that left side. The left side's never been stronger before. So, Dickerson doing a very good job out there. Next on the list, obviously next to Landon Dickerson, is Jordan Milana. $7.4 million cap hit. Jordan Milana, from rugby football player to NFL star at left tackle. And you know what? I have to say, Milana has, we've had our times with Milana. I think really the only time that Milana has really struggled, I think it was like a couple years ago. I think it was against I think it was Yank Ngakoue. I think he was one of the maybe the top players that I really seen Milana really struggle against. But other than that, I think he's done so well. I feel like what Jeff Stoutland has done with this offensive line is just ridiculous. Anything Jeff Stoutland wants to do, anybody he wants to sign, whether it's tylersteen or whether it's Reed that we signed from Louisville as an undrafted free agent or whoever they bring in, I have no issue with it at all. I never question. Even Howie Roseman even said he leaves the offensive line picks. He leaves the offensive line to Jeff Stoutland. You know what I mean? So even Kelsey had a hand in picking Landon Dickerson. You know what I mean? So not Landon Dickerson, Cam Jurgens, having Cam Jurgens here as well. So, I mean, there's Jeff Stoutland's done a fantastic job. And I mean, what he did with Milana is just I think it's just going to be one of the best football stories, from rugby player to NFL player, what he's done so far. And man, just fantastic what he's done. And just, a big bargain, no doubt. There's no doubt about it. Now, Devonte Smith, well, obviously we talked about him earlier when we were talking about A.J. Brown. Devonte Smith is going to have a beast year. I think Devonte Smith hasn't even reached his ceiling yet, haven't even reached the full potential of Devonte Smith yet. Because remember early last year in the season where he was, not really used. They weren't really attacking with Devonte Smith and A.J. Brown at the same time. I think when Dallas Goedert got hurt, I think that was really the moment they really had to utilize him a lot more. And I think Steichen did a really good job with him, but still, I really think Devonte Smith just has so much more to bring to the table. I still think he's a top 5 receiver. I really do. I have a good feeling. I'm not even trying to be biased, but I love this guy. I mean, I think we haven't even seen what he could have had more yards last year. It wasn't enough. And, the only thing that Devonte Smith really needs to work on, he's dropped a few balls that were overturned that weren't overturned. That should have been. Yeah, he had 3 catches that were dropped last year, and obviously we hold this receiver core to a high standard. So he got away with a few drops last year. Just got to, obviously he'll fix that. I'm not even worried about that. That's the least of my worries. I'm just nitpicking at this point with Devonte Smith. So $5.4 million, obviously still on his rookie contract. I expect Devonte Smith to sign a long-term extension with the Philadelphia Eagles, probably by the end of next year. I mean, I would have to say, like I said, if I was picking between Devonte Smith and A.J. Brown, I'm picking Devonte Smith. You sign a long-term deal. You don't let homegrown talent leave this team. Okay, when he's a homegrown talent, you sign him, and if he's good and there's a lot of loyalty to the city when a guy is drafted here. So you sign this guy long-term, no doubt. So Devonte Smith, we know what he does well, and we know what he's going to do this year. He had 2 1,000-yard receivers this year and a 1,000-yard running back. It's just crazy. Just nuts. Just imagine, Dallas Goedert, missed some time. Just imagine they probably could have had close, probably not there, but probably close to a 1,000-yard tight end as well. It was monstrous last year, very monstrous. Couldn't get the job done at the end of the year, but Devonte Smith is definitely on that list. Is definitely a huge bargain for what he's producing on the field for the amount of his cap numbers as of right now. It's kind of nuts. I think one of the favorites of this team, one of my favorites going into the season is DeAndre Swift. There's no doubt. 3rd day of the draft, we traded for him, a 4th round pick in 2025, which is absolutely nothing. His cap number is $1.7 million for the year. I mean, it's a bargain. It's a huge bargain, and we know what DeAndre Swift can do. Elite vision, can cut on a dime in the passing game. Remember, I talked about Brian Johnson, the passing game, when he was an offensive coordinator in Florida, what he did with those running backs and how he really got them involved. I think he wants to get these guys into the passing game. And obviously, Swift is a little bit of a bigger running back, kind of want really how Doug used Miles Sanders in 2019. That's what I want. That's what I'm kind of waiting for. Man, I want to see DeAndre Swift out there catching passes as a receiver, man. I want him doing real routes, and I don't even care about the screen passes, but man, this man in open space, you better be careful, because between this offensive line, if Swift gets to the second level every single time, I'm telling you, between Rashad Penny, between DeAndre Swift, I am telling you right now that one of these dudes, if they stay healthy, I think DeAndre Swift healthy is going to hit 1,000 yards. Chip on his shoulder, getting shipped off from Detroit after getting Jahmyr Gibbs drafting, obviously 2 running backs getting drafted top 13. I mean, just insane. Swift is obviously one of my favorite players coming here this year. No one's going to care about Miles Sanders after DeAndre Swift has had a healthy season with the Eagles this year. Okay, love Miles Sanders. I wish they kept him. I wish he didn't get $6 million a year. I understand they could have explored to re-sign him, and I think there could have been a possibility. He wasn't that expensive, but the Eagles want to upgrade, a low-risk, high-reward type move. But there's a bunch of what-ifs with DeAndre Swift because obviously he missed 3 games, I think, last year? I think the year before that he missed a few games. So he's missed some time. Just a little bit, not as much as Rashad Penny, but he's missed some time. So very excited for DeAndre Swift. Eagles green, Agent Zero, first player for the Philadelphia Eagles to ever wear number 0. And a lot of, obviously, I think, 24 years old, guys. I mean, it's just nuts. Just nuts. Can't wait for Swift. Swift and Hurts on that exchange. Man, I'm excited. I'm excited for it. And obviously, Alamati Zaccheaus. Yes, I said his name wrong, and I'm tired. I just let me do my thing when I say names because I just don't know. Alamati Zaccheaus is a little bit over $1 million cap hit. Okay, Zaccheaus is obviously a pure slot, had his best year last year of his career with the Atlanta Falcons, over 500 yards, 2 touchdowns, and a really crappy offense. I mean, crappy. So, we talked about Quez Watkins and the big, wide receiver 3 competition. Is it really happening? I don't know. I mean, I don't know what's going to happen here. That's why training camps, is really, exciting because I kind of want to see how this turns out going down the road. So very happy with this. I've liked this signing. I think once he was signed, I think all Eagles fans were really trying to phase Quez out. I think Quez just didn't. Quez didn't drop 18 balls last year, but obviously. He didn't, it was one of the less productive positions last year. And obviously a grade 2 shoulder sprain, all that stuff. But Zaccheaus is interesting, though. Guy's a burner. Guy can get separation. Good hands. Tracking the football is great. He's a little bit shorter than Quez. I think they're about the same weight. And he's pure slot. As much as everyone thinks, a lot of Eagles fans say, "Oh, Quez is better on the outside," which you could be right. You could be right. But you bring in a pure slot guy. I feel like they can use both of them. I think Quez and Zaccheaus. I think they can use both of these guys this year. So I think Zaccheaus is, doesn't have to be a main focal point of your offense, but the things they could do with him, they can put him on screen passes. They could put him in short field. I mean, they could do different things with him. Very quick. I think he has the explosiveness off the line better than Quez as a slot guy. I just think he has that quick. I think he's a little bit shorter. He has that quick feet. I just think he might be a little bit better on that. But Quez is really good, and I expect both of these guys to make the roster, obviously. And Zaccheaus, obviously, it's a 1-year prove it type deal. What is he going to do? I mean, he's not going to re-sign with the Eagles after this year if he plays really, really well. But this is just a rental for this year, obviously. But a very good chip for us to have as a bargain, as a cap number this year that could really produce if given the opportunity, especially in a loaded offense the way it is right now. Put anybody at slot receiver and they'll do really well. Not anybody, but at least with Zaccheaus, because he has somewhat of a resume for doing good in the slot, which is a great thing. So after all of that, after all that's going on, the amount of money that the Eagles have in cap right now is $13,854,767. So that is your total cap. I mean, this is over the cap right now. I don't know how much it has been updating, but I guess this is the number that I literally copy and pasted. So, 4 open roster spots. And trust me, you look at, don't worry about the cap numbers going to next year and all that stuff, because those cap numbers stand right now as they are in 24 for next season, but Howie is going to make moves next off season. So I can't be like, oh, this is how much we're going to have. If Howie doesn't make moves and he doesn't touch anything, that's what it's going to look like. And it might not look great, but that's only because we haven't got to next year yet. So trust me, I'm not even thinking about next year yet. So 4 open roster spots, 11 to 12 draft selections in next year's draft in 24. I mean, the more draft hits that you hit, and especially if we know we have 2 really good coordinators in Sean Desai and Brian Johnson, I think we're going to be in really good hands. The more Howie drafts well, the less money you have to go out in free agency, the less money you have to re-sign, the less you can let go of players that have produced here. You know what I mean? So the more you draft well, the less you got to spend, and that's how I think of it. And you're paying Jalen Hurts now, not much at all. $19 million between this year and next year, it's $19.5 million. But got ahead on these draft picks. There's no doubt about it. We're not going to have the luxury next year of having another first round pick. You never know. Maybe down the road. But I kind of wanted to give an example of just the cap hit bargains, the top 10 right now that I just talked about. Thought it was really important to talk about since we're kind of waiting for training camp. There's only so much we could really go into with these positions until they hit training camp on the 25th. But yeah, I'm pretty excited about it. And especially, I think from a financial standpoint, I think we're in a good spot right now. And these contracts look really good. Until next year, we'll actually have more to talk about. But as of right now, we're perfectly fine. And I'm already I'm ready for training camp. I'm ready to see what's going on with the depth charts and what's happening once we get into full pads, joint practices with the Bears and the Colts. And yeah, gonna have a good time. So if you guys last this long in this video, make sure you subscribe to the channel. Make sure you like the video as well. Just help out the channel out a lot. More Eagles content on the way for you guys every day as usual. You guys have a fantastic day, and I'll see you guys on the next one. Shakes, what up? Follow us. Peace out, guys. Peace.